Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Speculation Alley. It's me, A-Bomb. I got my boy, brother from a different mother, Crypto Dilly, in the house as usual. And we're going to get into some speculation today, obviously. Dilly, what do we got?
Yeah, buddy. Well, first of all, just got back from Art Basel. What a week. And it was so much fun. Got to meet and hang out with so many legendary people. I might just splat all of them up on the screen right here. And yeah, we just got back, and honestly, last week was kind of hectic because we were in Art Basel, and then we had the drops from 10KTF, or what you would say is drops of information. So I'm more curious to hear about your speculation on the new location, and then I'm going to run it back, and then I'll tell you what my thoughts are. So what were your initial thoughts?
First of all, I'm sure somebody else saw it, but I think it was Brenswa or someone. So of course, you all know I'm a horrible reporter. Shout out. But I think when we were holding the space on Thursday and we got the milk carton, I was like, sweet, another nothing tweet. And essentially, we saw the new location pop up on 10ktf.com, which we dove deep into, and I have a lot of questions for you. But first of all, who's the person, right? Who's the figure standing? Because if you click the undisclosed location, the one with the question marks, then there's like a silhouette of somebody standing there. There's also speculation that there could be Wagmi-san. If you look to the left over there, like his silhouette too, kind of like leaning on something. Who knows? Honestly, we know nothing. But the biggest thing was, why are there 7 question marks? I mean, there's always a reason for everything. Who's
7,
the person?
not 10?
7, not 10. But also 3 of them were bold and 4 of them weren't. And the only item that actually has a question mark associated with it is Gucci cloth. Because if on the fact section of 10KTF, it's the only one that has an arrow to a question mark. Obviously, it's a question mark because we don't know what it does yet. But I don't know. That's some thoughts. But what do you think?
All right. So, I was digging in, bro. So
Let's go.
first of all, we get this, ominous news message in the Discord, which is about an invitation for token proof for Goblintown's event. Okay. So we're like, oh, okay, like this is strange. Like, why are we getting an invite to Goblintown when we're not connected to Goblintown? Right. And what's really interesting about this piece is that it's actually garbage truck. And the garbage truck is actually passing through New Tokyo under the overpass. And I'll put the side by side right here. The reason that that's so interesting is that it's a reversed art heist, right? So I just get my wheels turning. I'm like, holy crap, like this is a garbage truck. Well, the new location is a mound of trash, and you have a shadowy figure on top of the mound of trash. Immediate connection. I'm like, oh, okay, like Goblintown, baby. Like we're getting goblins coming in as a parent IP, like to 10KTF. There's no question there for me. I'm like, okay, this makes sense, right? But where I went wrong, and I actually was speculating pretty hard. Me and my boy Guccheetah, we were hanging out all weekend, and you know what? I'm actually gonna bring him up right now. We got him in the back alley. Oh, there he is.
What's up, legend?
So we're chatting.
Pleasure, buddy. Pleasure to meet you, man. I
feel like, bro, back at you, man. I heard you and Dilly got into some shenanigans out there in Miami. I'm excited to hear all about it.
Dude, we were holding hands, skipping all around town, man. We needed you in the mix next time.
I'll be there one of these days. I'm trying to hold down LA. You know what I mean? Somebody's got to hold down the West Coast, right?
Okay, so now that you guys have made your introduction, this is where like things get crazy. So I'm like, okay, they made this connection. I'm thinking Beeple. Like Beeple is going to announce that he's an advisor to Goblintown. And if we know the history of Goblintown, that's where like they had that spike. Like everything just like catapulted. Everybody was speculating that Beeple was a part of the Goblintown project. They didn't really know who was behind it, right? So long story short, like I'm like, okay, this is going to come full circle. Beeple's announcing he's an advisor for the team and blah, 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 right? Well, that unfortunately did not happen during the event, but I don't want to discount it at all. I really believe that there is a huge chance that Beeple is an advisor for Goblintown. All speculation. That's why we're in Speculation Alley. But I definitely believe that this is a foreshadowing hint towards Goblintown being a parent project that's inserted into the storyline. And the reason I'm also going to connect one more dot is we do know about like Jenkins the Valet and Applied Primate Engineering. And if we are going off the speculation of last week, we also have Jenkins the Valet working directly with goblins, right? So everything's kind of tying together. And I just, there's some bombs right there. So Guccheetah, what can you add in there? I mean, we were speculating on all kinds of different things, connecting lots of dots.
Yeah, we were at that Jarritos event just drinking free Don Julio and like buzzing, right? We're getting these updates. Our wheels are spinning. We're thinking like, Applied Primates drop in alpha all around town. The 3 dogs are missing in the Kennel Club. We're getting the Goblintown deal, right? We're thinking, okay, so these goblins, they're obviously going to be helping this hooded lady do the recycling, and our wheels spinning. And I think at one point I was like, figured it out, man. Like tomorrow night, all these parties are going to be under one roof and blah, blah, blah. And boy, that's speculation gone wrong. Me and you were just hyped. And but one other thing that did it for me is like, I pulled up a press release later that night and for the Goblintown's party. And I'm reading it. I'm like, is there any alpha in here? Is there any alpha in here? And at the very last line, it says, let me pull it up. Hold on. Okay, it says, Goblintown knows how to shake up the establishment, blah, blah, blah. It says, all we can say is keep your eye out for the hooded Jedi-looking weirdo lurking around at the party. Say the secret word and see what happens. And I mean, that's for those of us at NYC and NFT NYC, that's what happened. There's a hooded figure lurking around. You ask a question, give the right answer, you get a poster. So we never made it to Goblintown, though, so don't know if people...
To add to that, so I was fortunate enough to actually go on the reverse art heist. I was able to pick up a few pieces. We got some rare, frame posters. We got some, physical actual prints. And
Let's
then my
go, bro. Those are sick.
101 Grumple. So during that art heist, reversed art heist, they were handing them out. We actually did run into the hooded Jedi figure. Okay. And I was able to talk to him, and it was for Proxy Collective. So that was a completely different project that they were like doing something with, still some mystery and not really sure what's going on there. But it was different than what we probably thought it was, because I was in the same boat as Guccheetah. I was like, okay, the hooded figure, it matches the NFT NYC where we walk up, we get like a nice print that is numbered and it's all connected, right? So I want to debunk that. I think that that's discounted as well. But long story short, with everything, I'm still not a believer that Beeple's not an advisor. I think that that's in the cards. I think that's in play. And I would be very shocked if Goblintown doesn't become a parent of 10KTF. I mean, they're so involved in their just guerrilla marketing, the way that they went about things at this event in Art Basel. I was just blown away. I was super surprised. And I didn't want this to turn into all Goblintown, but like the trash pile in the new location, it just got me jacked. I was like, it's connected. Everything's connected. Like, why would 10KTF get an invitation to an event for Goblintown? Like, they're 2 completely different project teams. You got Illuminati and Truth. Like, they're not connected to what's going on with We Knew and Yuga. So I think there's some backstory there that may come to fruition with it. I mean, hearing all that, what do you think, A-Bomb?
I mean, the instant comparison that I go to is the Puma party that I had the fortunate, opportunity to go to. And it like that was something where the Puma stuff wasn't really like out of the bag. We still don't know what 10KTF is doing with Puma at all yet. So, but there was this obviously some sort of back end connection. Therefore, we got tickets, VIP tickets, mind you, to this event. So I see where you're drawing a bridge into comparison of Goblintown potentially being involved in 10KTF. Now, one thing I'll tell you is I know that there are a ton of projects trying to get involved in the 10KTF ecosystem. So it would not surprise me at all if Goblintown was one of those very projects. Now,
just extending like that olive branch, like, hey,
Yeah, precisely. And I think that's sort of what 10KTF's goal is, right? We're not trying to like be like just the cool kids and whatnot. Like we want to have inclusivity, and that's why we see all of these different projects coming out. What I think is hilarious though is that you saw a hooded fit, you saw a silhouette of somebody on this brand new location on 10KTF.com. You say, what about all that trash? What's all that trash down there? I fucking love it.
Well, so here's another really interesting component. You also have Wagmi-san 10KTF shop update their profile picture to the Wagmi-san missing on the milk carton, right? Well, very interesting thing actually happened at Art Basel, where the actual location for the ape party was given out by a phone booth. And the phone booth, interestingly enough, had Applied Primate Engineering stickers on it, but also it had the 3 missing posters of doggos. Okay. I actually did some blockchain research. I discovered that one of those is actually Tomatoes doggo. The other 2 are actually club managers of the Bored Ape Yacht Club. Those are those dogs. Well, it doesn't include Good Boy. And so you actually have 4 missing dogs. And then you have Wagmi-san, who is also missing. And when you tie that all together, Applied Primate Engineering had their stickers. It was a yellow phone booth. And that's how it got you connected to the actual physical location of the Bored Ape Yacht Club party, right? So if you dial everything back, all these stories are bridging together in the mix. And it's all, in my opinion, being kind of guided by this Applied Primate Engineering project. And when you actually piece all that together, well, 4 doggos missing. What's happening on December 12th? You also have mutant hounds coming out, right? And if you take Applied Primate Engineering,
Thursday,
I think it's Monday.
Monday.
I want to say it's a Monday. I'll double check that. But
it's a week
right now.
With that being said, you just think about the tie-ins there, and it just blows my mind because you take these dogs and then you inject them with mutant serum and they become mutant hounds, right?
Well, that's funny you say that, because in that space that you sent me to listen to with Leori talking about the hounds, somebody brought that up and they said, what if the apes like sent out a second type of serum for dogs specifically? This one can't be applied to an ape, but it can be applied to a dog and it mutates their dog.
Well, you also have the post by Mutant Cartel that has I forget which ape it is, but he has the captain's hat and the lab coat, and he's seen not only injecting himself but doing some experiments on the dog on the table, right?
So check this out. Brandon said that what if the dogs are there to sniff out and find Wagmi, right? Like we found the glasses. What if now we find Wagmi with the dogs, and everybody's running around the other side with the dogs trying to find Wagmi? I don't know. We'll see.
Yo, I like that. I like Brandon. Yo, brother, that's sick. I like that idea a lot. Yeah, see, because that's the thing, right? It's like, okay, let's backtrack a second because there's a lot happening right here. So we have this figure. So first of all, really quick, let's answer this one though. Who do you think the silhouette is standing on the heap of trash?
I personally believe that the recycling lady figure that we saw next to the recycling with the combat gear in the background, I think that is that figure. The shape looks very similar. So I would think that's her or him, whatever. Guccheetah, what do you think?
Yeah, a new character that we will learn about, season 2 or whenever recycling starts.
So let me ask you this then, because this is a dual part question then. So do you think that Wagmi-san is going to be missing, and that's sort of going to be a mystery floating in the air still for quite some time while we're introduced to this character? Or what do you think is going to happen? It looks like Dilly's saying yeah.
I think so. I think it plays really nicely into this Jenkins, the valet story that's playing out right now, where you have him, searching the metaverse looking for Good Boy right now. Right. And so it's open right now where you can actually write a story about your character. And that's the introductions of all these characters from around the metaverse. And, in this search for Good Boy, it makes sense that, you're able to tie that in with Wagmi-san missing and finding Good Boy and these other 3 dogs also being missing. So bridging the gap, telling that story, and then also progressing the storyline with 10KTF. I think recycling is going to be coming very soon. And this mysterious location, I think it ties in pretty nicely with that as well. And if goblins are involved, I mean, even better.
Yeah, not to belabor the goblin point, but when has another collection been included in the lore? Right, the 10KTF poster has the goblins in the trash truck under the overpass. So is it just a flyer for a party, or are they hinting that, and goblins I think deserve to be in at some point, and maybe that's their deal. Like they are part of the trash heap people that help with recycling.
And dude, their party was crazy. Like they were giving out tattoos in the back of an abandoned Macy's, like
Oh
crazy.
hell yeah! I'm getting a tattoo for sure. Then you already know me, bro. I got the thimble. Give me a goblin. I'll put one on me right now.
If anybody watching this went to that party, come on the spaces tonight. Let us know if Beeple was there. Let us know if a masked figure was running around. Were there posters?
It was.
There was a masked figure running around.
Not about posters though.
Okay.
And it was a hooded figure. He had like a display on his face.
At the party or like during the day?
At the party. He was at all the stops for the reverse heist. Like, yeah.
So what happened if you asked him to answer the right question? Did you just get a piece of art or something?
You got it. He had a QR code like on his sleeve, and then he also had a QR code that you could scan on his phone, and that took you to this exclusive Discord.
Yeah, I'll just say one thing about Basel. So I live in Florida, right? I've been going to Basel for the last 10 years, and for the last 9 years, Basel's just been all about street artists, physical artists, like parties that you could only go to if you were in the know, popular, had friends that were artists, whatever. A lot of the parties were like branded, right? This is the first year that all that's been transformed. NFT NYC, like that crypto NFT culture just invaded Miami and took over Basel, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, and it was pretty epic. All the best parties, like you needed to be in the community. You either had to have an NFT, be in the community, and those were the ones that everybody wanted to go to. And I didn't go to any other old school parties that I went to. I was just all crypto NFT all week.
Well, dude, that's crazy. First of all, to say like how much of an influence, excuse me, that NFTs and cryptocurrency are having on this sort of established, not a first timer, obviously, art sort of fair thing that's happening. So just to see that influence alone is amazing. But secondly, like what you're talking about is all of these parties that people had access to. And that's what it just drives me back to 10KTF, because like Dilly and you guys were saying, and obviously thinking like, why is 10KTF getting an invitation to this party? And aside from the why, it's like, look at every collection that 10KTF is involved with, and think of that like just in the sense of like, if you want utility, like just in the sense of a pass or getting an allow list to go to this party because you're a part of 10KTF who has partnered or like is working with these other collections. Like that's amazing. You know what I mean? Well, and as you said, Guccheetah, like that was where all the alpha and everyone wanted to be anyway.
Here's what's really fascinating to me about this invitation is you had multiple collections that are parent IP to 10KTF that we didn't get access to as a 10KTF holder. Right. So you had a Ranga party. You have Dead Fellas party. You have Wow Gala, right? You have all these events, Board Ape Yacht Club. You got all these different events that happen that were through token proof, and 10KTF is obviously working with these different projects. They're branded, their parents, but this one project that we're not partnered with is hosting a party, and that's the one that 10KTF is invited to. So they're bridging some kind of relationship. They're creating something. They're at least in communication, if nothing else. So there is a lot to really digest with that piece of information, in my opinion.
I have a question for you then. Let's let Guccheetah answer it and then we'll go to you. But like, so with like more PFPs obviously joining, even just when it's like Ranga, Dead Fellas, and Chimpers, right? Because we know, well, we don't know, but that we speculate because of that Twitter post that they're going to be involved in the project, as well as Mutant Hounds because of the other posts they did. However, if they have all of these new collections that are coming into the project, why is it that, or how is it that they're going to sort of juggle all of these different stories? How do they do that easily? Because we've seen Boss Wolf, aka Wolfgang and whatnot, and then we've seen also Cryptodes from Gremplin. We've seen Gutter Cat Gang, but Gutter Cat Gang has not really been a huge influence other than a few small story pieces, and neither has Boss Wolf or Wolfgang and all that stuff. So I'm curious if they keep adding PFPs, how or do they even like fully acknowledge them, or how do they go about that? What do you think, Guccheetah?
I mean, well, you got to be a master storyteller like Figgy, and then if you thought like him, you'd have all the answers, But I mean, they got all the time in the world, and like they just need to throw some crumbs, drop a little story. I mean, they might wait like a season before they really start introducing another, but ultimately, you got to kiss the ring to enter the other side. So obviously, I mean, eventually, everybody who's not a rug or a shitty project that's like worthy, like, are going to get in eventually, and 10K
Right.
TF will be that gate. One thing I want to point out that it blew my mind, I was listening to this podcast where this one of the dudes from Yuga who's talking about the other side, he said that the whole other side is going to have the branding and feel of Yuga, except if you want to take your land, if you're Tony or Guccheetah, or if you're one of you guys, or if you're Dead Fellas, you can buy up land and then you can clear it, and then you could use Unreal Engine and make whatever dynamic, whatever. So he said the whole goal is this isn't just going to be the Bored Ape Yacht Club metaverse. You're going to have Snoop Dogg's metaverse. You're going to have any PFP collection that has the funding to in the wherewithal and the team to build in there. They're gonna, and then it'll all just be interoperable. So when we were talking about how like all the metaverses would be interoperable, like it's all within other side. There's 100,000
Right.
lands. You can have 50,000 NFT collections where you can jump, and then when you get there, you kind of are in their land. So New Tokyo can look like what we saw with New Tokyo, and they can all have their own style.
You know
I
what that
think
reminds? Go for it, Dylan.
I was just going to say on your topic of stories and converging all these different projects into one, I think that one really interesting component that we've already seen is that there's 17 parent projects already there, right? But within those, how many are actually already bridged and a part of the storyline? Not as many as parents there are, right? So when you think
Like
about
Clutchy
that,
Penguins haven't done nothing yet, right?
yeah. So, I mean, like when you take a step back and you're Figgy and you're working through what different things, it's more like touch points, kind of like what Guccheetah said. It's like if you have the gangs of Wolfgang, and then you have the frogs, whatever it is, you actually have that tie-in where you want them to touch points and it tells that story, right? So I think on a grander scale, I think that's what's really interesting about the convergence of all these stories coming together right now. Is this is honestly where I think Beeple really meant batshit, is right before things really take off. Like this is the binding of everything coming together and really making it, crazy, because that's where all the overlap happens. And then it's just going to explode because everybody's going to be working together to make this thing work. And truthfully, that's the only way that it really does work. If you read Herman Norella's book, Virtual Societies, everyone needs to be working together, and it needs to be the tokenization of culture, like what you like to say, and bridging everything together to make everything all as one.
You know what? You just got me thinking, Dilly. What if there's like a easy formula that they drop it? Like it could, for example, could just be portals, right? Just like this cataclysmic event took place, opening a tear in space and time in all of these different even unknown dimensions that then could allow all these collections to come in whatever storyline they feel like. If they're like, okay, here's the base of it, and now you can decide sort of how, I mean, we decided that the tear was there, but you decide how what your collection did with the tear in space and time, how they went about it. But the one thing I want to revert back to is what Guccheetah was talking about, where the other side is sort of like this base for all of these other metaverses to exist in. Like it's the it reminds me of
The
Ethereum.
platform.
It reminds me of Ethereum blockchain, bro. It's the base tech that everything else that we know, even NFTs that we know of today, have been built upon. That is the way that now I think about what you said, because that's kind of the way I've discussed it with Dilly as well. Is it's like let's say you were digitally bowling, right? Like imagine old Wii bowling, but instead you're instead of on the Wii, you're like you got your goggles on, right? And then you leave the bowling alley, and then maybe you see like Gucceetah's shop over there. You're like, oh, bro, let's go over to Gucceetah's shop right there. So you're still experiencing these separate entities like bowling alley, Gucceetah shop. But as he said, it's all in the same land base. Like that's what I always felt as well, like it would be. So, but that makes me think of Ethereum. So I love that.
And one other thing, A-Bomb, now that I've been sitting listening, I think what's going to end up happening is, so like say gutter cats, right? They're going to have they're going to have their land in the other side, and it's going to feel like the gutter, and they're going to be running around, and like a gutter cat person might, there might be 1,000 of them, 500 of them at a time, and they're talking, socializing. They're going to have their own events and storylines and stuff going on. But when they want to go on a mission, this is where I think, Beeple's famous quote is, you got to kiss the ring. When the team is like, all right, enough of you guys playing and socializing, we're going on a mission, then 10KTF facilitates that. Arm yourself, do whatever, go through the battle town. And so there could be 17 different missions happening at all different times. I doubt it's only going to be a Thursday thing. It's going to be a around the clock thing. And,
Right.
And you might I might be in the gutter cat world, and they're like, and then, we'll find out about these other missions. And then you're going to be like, either you get more PFPs from other collections, or you sit back and you're like, I can't play them all. And you're just going to do the one, because they already foreshadow that with the end of the second half of the first season is like, we're splitting you up. You have to have certain things. And they're doing it slowly because we all were like, right? Oh man, I don't have a sword. You mean I can't do this or that? But like, like FOMOing, but eventually it's going to be, you're just not gonna be able to do it all. And that's okay. Yo,
Gucceetah, you're blowing my mind right now. What is that? So let's look at that as a platform in and of itself, because I was thinking anyways of Wagmi-san's Arena. Sorry about this dog, give me a minute, but about Wagmi-san's Arena and it being sort of like this arena where everyone battles at. But what if the arena is like Battletown in that sense, where you go to this arena and you can choose different challenges? And as you just said, Gucceetah, which I think is the best point of this, is that you may be required to have certain gear to join a certain mission. But this is where it gets interesting for 10KTF, because as we know, oh no, that's not true. You had to actually have an ape to join certain things. So yeah, I was going to say if you had a 10KTF item, you might be able to join any one of those missions, let's say, but that doesn't seem like it would be the case. So that's really interesting.
I think it's going to get more and more exclusive based off the missions and different types for sure. And, speaking of FOMO, I want to segue this conversation just in, consideration of time. Okay. So I FOMO'd on, we went to the Bored Ape party, and I'm sitting there talking to Taylor Gehring, and he's the co-creator of Ethereum.
Guy's a loser.
Like, guy has a yellow Gucci button up on. Right. And I'm like, oh, wow, you're rocking the Gucci. Like, that's sick. And I was like, that's interesting. And he's like,
the Love Parade one that's on all the Gucci girls, or half the Gucci girls.
He's like, you got to check out my shoes. He's like, you got to check out my shoes. I look at his shoes, and he's got custom made mega, Gucci shoes on. And I was like, no way. He's like, yeah, dude, it's my profile picture on Twitter. You haven't seen that? I was like, no, wait. Your profile, you have the mega, and your profile picture is the Gucci mega.
That's even more rare. Hell yeah, Gucci, that mega.
I click on it. It's the Gucci mega. And I was like, no way. Like, that's crazy. And then Guccheetah, he's like, yeah. And Figgy, he rocks his Gucci ape all the time. He doesn't rock a regular ape. And I was like, oh,
not only that, but if you look on Discord, I did this the other day. You look at you look at the rolls. You're wow. You're ape. You're this. Well, Figgy has an ape. He has, we've seen it. He rocked it before, but his Discord, his rolls, the only roll he has for PFP is Gucci Grail, and he's rocking his Gucci Grail. I mean,
So
some Gucci Grail.
I FOMO'd in. I'm
You got a badass one.
rebranded. I am now a Gucci ape on
I
Instagram,
rebranded.
Twitter.
Welcome to Guccheetah's gang, buddy.
So
There you go.
I am officially a Gucci ape, and yeah, I think we might actually have some news coming from Fake News Tokyo. That should be coming up, and let's actually read it, and we'll actually talk about it on the Twitter Spaces tonight. So if you're around, let's do it there, and I think let's close out the video for now and leave it on a cliffhanger, so everybody wants to go to the Twitter Spaces and hear what we have to say.
Go get your copy of Fake News Tokyo 10 minutes before the half hour before the stream, and we'll talk about it there.
Let's go. So let's close this thing out. Guccheetah, I want to say thank you for joining us on this night, and hopefully the community got some really good insight and some information. Once again, this is Crypto Dilly. I'm here with my co-host A-Bomb, and we just want to say thank you for watching our videos every week. Definitely comment below, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and definitely turn the notification bell on so that way you get an update every single week. We do our videos every single Wednesday, and you can expect Spaces to actually go over this information every single week as well. So I want to say thank you again, and we'll see you next week. Peace.
Thanks for having me. Bye.